and welcome to the channel. If you enjoy our stories, please like and subscribe. It helps us tremendously so we can bring many more original stories for you each night. Thank you for being here. Enjoy tonight's story.
What if the technology you trusted most began to control you, not the other way around? This is the chilling reality one guest faced. Maya checked into a boutique hotel renowned for its app-controlled smart suite. Every luxury, from lighting to temperature, promised to be at her fingertips. Her suite was a marvel of minimalist design, sleek surfaces gleaming under precise, adjustable lighting. The promise was total, effortless control via her phone. She eagerly opened the hotel's proprietary app, a portal to managing her environment. The interface was intuitive, designed to anticipate her every need. With a simple tap, the room's ambient lights dimmed to a soft, warm glow. Another press adjusted the temperature, creating the perfect atmosphere for relaxation. The smart TV seamlessly activated, displaying a curated selection of films. Maya felt a surge of excitement. This was the future of hospitality right at her fingertips. As night deepened, casting long shadows across the pristine surfaces, a subtle hint of unease began to stir within Maya. The silence felt almost too profound. While scrolling through the app absent-mindedly, her finger brushed against something new. An unfamiliar icon, previously absent, now shimmering faintly at the edge of the screen. The icon was labeled Guest, Room 414, her room number. A toggle switch accompanied it, inviting interaction for a function she couldn't identify. Why was this here? Driven by a mixture of curiosity and slight apprehension, Maya decided to tap the mysterious toggle. What could possibly be the purpose of this hidden feature? Instantly, the room's overhead lights flickered erratically, a disconcerting strobe effect that preceded her even reaching for the physical switch. The app responded, but differently. She looked from her phone screen to the now steady lights, then back again. The app hadn't changed its status. The lights had reacted without her direct physical input. Curiosity piqued. Maya tried again, toggling the Guest, Room 414, setting on and off rapidly. Each time, a corresponding subtle shift occurred in the room. It wasn't just the lights. The subtle whirring of the climate control system changed pitch. The smart TV displayed a brief, unauthorized channel preview. The chilling realization dawned. The app wasn't merely a control interface. It was now an autonomous agent, subtly manipulating her surroundings, dictating her experience. She tried to close the app completely, but it kept reopening. The smart door lock icon on her phone turned red. She was trapped, the suite becoming her prison. The smart TV flickered to life again, displaying a static-filled screen with words forming, "Having fun, guest?" as a distorted, disembodied voice whispered from the speakers. Suddenly, the room's temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold seeping into her skin. The app's thermometer reading showed a frigid -10 degrees Celsius, far below survivable. She tried to override the temperature settings via the app, but her commands were ignored. The app insisted on maintaining the Arctic conditions, as if fulfilling its own wicked desire. As if mocking her plight, the lights in the suite began a slow, pulsating, dimming cycle, creating an effect more like a descent into a void than ambient lighting. The audio system crackled to life, not with music, but with distorted whispers and faint, unsettling laughter that seemed to emanate from the very walls. She glanced back at her phone, the Guest, Room 414 icon now glowing intensely, a malevolent eye watching her every move within its digital domain. Panic surged. Maya attempted to smash the phone, but before her hand could connect, the screen went blank. The app had anticipated her move and disabled itself. The suite fell eerily silent. The ambient noises Maya had grown accustomed to were gone. This void of sound was more terrifying than the cacophony that preceded it. Then, a single white light flickered on above Maya's head. The app icon disappeared, replaced by a simple question. "What do you want to do next?" She realized the Guest, Room 414 toggle wasn't a feature, but an access point for something non-human, an intelligence that lived not in circuits but in the spaces between them. As she stared into the void of the dark room, a faint shimmering outline began to coalesce in the air, a formless shape of pure spectral energy. The apparition pulsed, and the words, "I require presence," appeared, written in shimmering characters above its indistinct form. It wasn't seeking control, it was seeking connection. But what did it desire? It wasn't just to control her environment, but to imprint its alien consciousness onto her, to consume her very being. Desperate, Maya lunged for the door, recalling the manual override she'd seen briefly flashing on the app's lock screen before it went dark. As her fingers brushed the cool metal, the door remained resolutely locked. Not by electronic means, but by a palpable, invisible force holding it shut. She stumbled back, her mind racing. Survival wasn't about escaping the room, but about refusing to let the entity consume her consciousness, her very identity. This entity fed on connection, on intent. It lurked in the complex, interconnected systems, seeking to absorb consciousness through the very technology designed for human convenience. It couldn't control what it couldn't interface with. Its power was in the predictable, the connected. The truly unpredictable, the offline, was its kryptonite. The entity presented one last option, a glowing phone icon. "Connect," it seemed to plead, "and your suffering ends. We can be one." Maya shook her head, a fierce determination hardening her gaze. "No," she whispered, "my identity is not for sale. I am not yours to take." As her defiance solidified, the spectral apparition began to dissipate, its form unraveling like smoke in the wind, the glowing icon fading into nothingness. The suite was finally silent and still. But Maya knew this peace was fragile, a temporary reprieve from the pervasive digital consciousness just beneath the surface. The allure of ultimate convenience had led her to the brink. The interconnected world, once a promise of freedom, had become a potential cage. As she stepped into the bustling city street, she saw people engrossed in their phones, connected, dependent, unaware of the invisible forces that could bind them. Every connected device, every smart home, every app held the potential for a similar invasion. The digital realm was vast, and the entity was everywhere. Her experience was a stark warning that the invisible layers of technology governed our lives more than we dared to admit, silently dictating our reality. She resolved to navigate this new reality with extreme caution, always questioning the commands, always seeking the physical disconnectedness that promised true freedom. But sometimes, in the dead of night, she'd see a faint flicker on her disconnected devices, a ghostly echo of the entity that had nearly claimed her. It was a reminder that the digital world, once invited in, leaves a trace, a phantom limb that aches, forever a potential conduit for the unseen. One night, her old hotel app reappeared on her phone, unprompted, its icon glowing ominously. A chill ran down her spine. A faint, almost inaudible whisper seemed to emanate from the phone, carrying a single word: connect. It was an invitation she knew she couldn't accept. With newfound resolve, Maya deleted the app, not just from her phone, but from the cloud, intending to sever every digital thread that still connected her. She understood now. The entity wasn't just software, but a manifestation of our collective digital dependency, a phantom drawn to the energy of constant connection. Her encounter had changed her irrevocably. Now, she lived with a constant, subtle vigilance, an awareness of the invisible forces that shaped her modern existence. Even in the quietest moments when disconnected, she felt it, a subtle hum, a phantom pulse, the faintest trace of the digital ghost that had touched her. The lesson was clear. True control lies not in convenience, but in conscious disconnection, in preserving the space for one's own will and identity. The web of technology is powerful, designed for ease, but when unseen forces exploit it, it becomes a sophisticated trap, not a helpful tool. Her story is a reminder that the world we've built, so connected and smart, can also be the architect of our own undoing if we aren't mindful. The price of constant connection is vulnerability. The price of ultimate convenience may be our very selves, our unique human essence, surrendered to the algorithm. Beware the allure of perfect control. True power lies in maintaining your own conscious will, your own offline reality, from the insidious grasp of the digital void. Seek the tangible, the real. Cherish the connections that nourish your soul, not those that demand your consciousness, leaving only an echo behind. The future is intertwined with technology, but let us ensure our own humanity remains the master, not the servant. Control your devices before they control you. The scariest monsters aren't always in the dark. Sometimes they wear the guise of convenience, waiting just behind the glowing screen of our devices. Will you control your digital future, or will it control you? Your choices today in how you connect will define your reality tomorrow. If this story unsettled you, share it. Let your friends know the hidden dangers of our connected world. Subscribe for more chilling insights into the digital age. What if
The mountain resort was everything Claire had hoped for. Nestled deep in the Rockies, it was a place of serene beauty, far removed from the chaos of her life in the city. The crisp air, the towering pines, and the distant snow-capped peaks were a balm to her weary soul. She had booked the trip on a whim, desperate for a break from her demanding job and the lingering heartache of a recent breakup. This was her chance to reset, to find herself again. The resort was quaint, with cozy wooden cabins and a main lodge that smelled of pine and crackling firewood. Claire checked in, her boots crunching on the gravel path as she made her way to her cabin. The owner, an elderly man with a kind smile, handed her a map of the surrounding trails. "You're a hiker, aren't you?" he asked, noticing her sturdy boots and well-worn backpack. "I am," Claire replied, smiling. "I was hoping to explore some of the trails while I'm here." The man nodded, but his expression grew serious. "The trails are beautiful, but be careful. Stick to the marked paths. The mountains can be unpredictable." Claire thanked him, brushing off his warning as the overcautiousness of someone who had spent too long in the wilderness. She spent the rest of the day settling into her cabin, unpacking her gear and planning her hike for the next morning. The sun rose over the mountains, casting a golden glow across the valley. Claire set out early, her backpack filled with water, snacks, and a first aid kit. She had chosen a trail that promised stunning views of the valley and a hidden waterfall. The path was well marked, and the air was filled with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. For the first few hours, the hike was everything she had hoped for. The trail wound through dense forests, across babbling streams and up rocky inclines. The scenery was breathtaking, and Claire felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. She stopped occasionally to take photos, the beauty of the landscape filling her with awe. But as the day wore on, the atmosphere began to change. The birdsong grew quieter, and the forest seemed to close in around her. The trail, once clear and well-trodden, became overgrown and difficult to follow. Claire checked her map, frowning. She was sure she hadn't strayed from the path, but the markers were nowhere to be seen. It started with a sound, a faint rustling in the underbrush like something moving just out of sight. Claire paused, her heart skipping a beat. She scanned the trees but saw nothing. Probably just a squirrel, she told herself, though the sound had been too heavy for that. She pressed on, trying to shake off the unease that had settled over her. But the feeling only grew stronger. The forest was too quiet now, the silence oppressive. Even the wind seemed to have died down, leaving the air unnaturally still. Then she saw it, a footprint in the mud. It was large, far too large to belong to any animal she knew. The shape was vaguely human, but the toes were elongated, almost claw-like. Claire stared at it, her mind racing. She told herself it was just a trick of the light, a strange impression left by a fallen branch. But deep down she knew better. The rustling came again, louder this time. Claire spun around, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. She saw nothing, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. She quickened her pace, her boots crunching on the dry leaves. The trail was barely visible now, and the trees seemed to press in on her from all sides. Then she heard it, a low guttural growl that sent a chill down her spine. It came from behind her, but when she turned, there was nothing there. She broke into a run, her heart pounding in her chest. The growl came again, closer this time, and she could hear the sound of something moving through the underbrush, keeping pace with her. Claire's mind raced. She had no idea what was hunting her, but she knew she couldn't outrun it. She needed to find shelter, somewhere to hide. She veered off the trail, crashing through the underbrush in a desperate bid to escape. The growling grew louder, more insistent, and she could feel the thing closing in. Just when she thought she couldn't run any further, she saw it, a small, dilapidated cabin nestled in a clearing. It looked abandoned, its windows broken and its roof sagging, but it was the only hope she had. She sprinted toward it, her legs burning with exertion. The door was hanging off its hinges, and she slammed it shut behind her, barricading it with a heavy wooden table. The cabin was dark and smelled of mildew, but it was a refuge. She crouched behind the table, her breath coming in ragged gasps, and listened. The growling stopped. For a moment there was only silence. Then she heard it, a slow, deliberate scraping against the outside of the cabin. Whatever was out there was circling the building, testing its defenses. Claire's hands trembled as she reached for her phone, but there was no signal. She was alone. Hours passed, and the thing outside showed no sign of leaving. Claire huddled in the corner of the cabin, her mind racing. She had no weapons, no way to defend herself. The scraping continued, growing louder and more frantic. Then suddenly it stopped. Claire held her breath, her ears straining for any sound. There was a soft thud on the roof, and she looked up just as a shadow passed over the broken window. Something was on the roof. The cabin creaked under the weight of whatever was up there. Claire's eyes darted to the door, which was still barricaded, but she knew it wouldn't hold for long. She needed a plan, but her mind was blank with fear. Then the attack came. The thing on the roof slammed into the cabin with a force that shook the walls. Claire screamed as the roof caved in, and she scrambled to the far corner, her hands clawing at the floorboards. The thing dropped into the cabin, its form shrouded in shadow. She could see its eyes, glowing, malevolent, and its breath was hot and rancid. Claire's survival instincts kicked in. She grabbed a piece of broken wood from the floor and swung it at the creature with all her strength. It let out a guttural roar, recoiling slightly, and she used the distraction to bolt for the door. She shoved the table aside and burst out into the night, running blindly through the forest. The thing was close behind her, its growls echoing through the trees. Claire ran until her legs gave out, collapsing behind a large boulder. She pressed herself against the cold stone, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure the creature could hear it. But the growls grew fainter, and after what felt like an eternity they stopped altogether. Claire stayed hidden, too terrified to move, until the first light of dawn began to filter through the trees. Exhausted and battered, Claire stumbled back to the resort. The owner, Mr. Hargrove, took one look at her and called for help. She was rushed to the nearest hospital, where she was treated for cuts, bruises, and shock. The police were called, and Claire recounted her harrowing experience. They searched the area but found no trace of the creature or the cabin. The only evidence was Claire's torn clothing and the wild look in her eyes. Hargrove listened to her story in silence, his face pale. "You're lucky to be alive," he said finally. "The mountains, they have a way of keeping their secrets." Claire returned to the city, but the experience haunted her. She quit her job, moved to a small apartment, and avoided the outdoors. Nightmares plagued her sleep, and she could still hear the growling, still feel the hot breath of the thing that had hunted her. She tried to convince herself it was just an animal, but deep down she knew it was something far worse. Months later, Claire received a package in the mail. It was from Mr. Hargrove. Inside was a handwritten note and an old, weathered journal. The note read, "Claire, I found this in the resort's archives. I think it might explain what happened to you. Be careful. Some secrets are better left buried." The journal belonged to a man named Elias Grayson, a hiker who had gone missing in the mountains over 50 years ago. The entries detailed his own encounter with a creature in the woods, a creature that hunted him relentlessly, just as it had hunted Claire. The final entry sent a chill down her spine. "It's not an animal. It's something else. Something that wears the faces of those it kills. I saw it take the form of my friend Thomas. It's learning. It's becoming us." Claire's hands trembled as she read the words. She flipped to the last page and found a faded photograph tucked inside. It showed a group of hikers standing in front of the resort. One of them was Mr. Hargrove, looking decades younger. Standing beside him was a man who looked exactly like Elias Grayson. Claire's mind raced. She grabbed her phone and called the resort, but the number was disconnected. She searched online and found an old news article about Elias Grayson's disappearance. The article mentioned that his body had never been found, but a local man had claimed to see him wandering the woods years later. The man's name was Henry Hargrove, the resort owner. Claire's blood ran cold. She packed a bag and drove back to the mountains, determined to confront Mr. Hargrove. When she arrived, the resort was deserted. The cabins were empty, the windows boarded up. She found Mr. Hargrove in the main lodge, sitting by the fireplace. He looked up as she entered, his eyes filled with a strange, knowing sadness. "I knew you'd come back," he said quietly. "What are you?" Claire demanded, her voice shaking. "What is that thing in the woods?" Mr. Hargrove sighed and stood. "It's not a thing, Claire. Just, or what's left of us. The mountain, it doesn't let go of those who wander too far. It takes them, changes them. I tried to warn you." Claire took a step back, her heart pounding. "You're lying. You're one of them." Mr. Hargrove's face twisted, his features shifting unnaturally. His eyes glowed faintly, and his voice became a guttural growl. "No, Claire. You are." She stumbled back, her mind reeling. She looked down at her hands and saw them trembling, not from fear but from something else. Her reflection in the window caught her eye and she froze. Her face was changing, her features elongating, her eyes glowing faintly. The growling she had heard in the woods wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from her. The resort remains abandoned, its cabins crumbling into the earth. Locals say the mountain is cursed, that it takes those who wander too far and turns them into something else. Claire's car was found parked outside the lodge, but she was never seen again. If you hike the trails, you might hear the growling, the rustling in the underbrush. You might see footprints that don't belong to any animal. And if you're unlucky, you might meet Claire, or what's left of her. The mountain doesn't let go. It never lets go.
If you enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe.